Joining us now, Adam Ruther from the law firm of Rosenberg, Martin and Greenberg, and we appreciate you being with us. I was very surprised today to learn this is a 3-year investigation. Most of us only became aware of this within the last year. Clearly, they must have had knowledge long ago that there was something to look into.
That certainly seems to be the case. And it's not an uncommon thing in federal investigations, particularly where they have luxury of time and resources to come across a piece of information that gives rise to an entire investigation. And until it is necessary because of doing things like serving search warrants, which we saw earlier this year, or other procedural hurdles in the case, until it becomes necessary or advantageous to let everybody know the investigation is actually going on, there's no reason to make it public, and there's no reason to let the target know that you're looking into them. In fact, it can hinder your investigation, so it makes sense that it was going quiet for as long as it was.
This is not the first time we've been in this position with a top official facing some federal charges and indictments. What is procedurally, what is the next step here for Catherine Pugh, and will it benefit her if she were to say she's guilty?
Well, the next step, the very next step, is a detention hearing, which will happen tomorrow. She will appear in front of Judge Chasnow, who's assigned to the case, and Judge Chasnow will make a decision as to whether she is going to remain free pending the outcome of the charges or whether she'll be incarcerated. Most likely, and in most cases like this, someone with no criminal history and poses no threat to the community will likely remain on their own recognizance while they're pending trial. But then the very next thing that happens is a negotiation process between the former mayor's council and the U.S. Attorney's Office to decide what offer might be on the table. Is there any other information she might be able to provide that might get her a certain amount of credit when it comes time for sentencing, and that's all in the federal sentencing guidelines. So there's a great deal of work to be done by counsel in the case in order to figure out how the case is going to resolve and to determine whether there are any triable issues, whether it is going to be a guilty plea as opposed to a trial. And without knowing a great deal more about what the evidence actually shows, aside from what's alleged in the indictment, we can't really speculate.
The 2 other people named in the indictment did plead guilty. Should that give us any indication?
It's pretty common. It's a pretty normal thing to sort of work your way up the chain of an investigation and a conspiracy like this, where you have some reason that you have caught some of the smaller fish, and then they have ultimately tried to help themselves by cooperating with the government. So typically, by the time you get to the sort of ultimate indictment of an investigation like this, you already have a number of people who've cooperated and already pled guilty, but often are not sentenced. So sometimes their cooperation is a condition of whatever ultimate deal they are able to make, and then it allows them to go in front of the court and say, this is the assistance I provided the government in my cooperation.
Okay. Adam Ruther, thank you as always for joining us, and I'm sure we'll have many more questions for you in the days to come.
My pleasure.
Yeah.